Good morning, guys. It's Chelsea. I wanted to do a video for you guys today cooking in the Instant Pot. So you know that I absolutely love cooking with my Instant Pot. If you're not familiar with the Instant Pot, it is a pressure cooker. It also has saute features, yogurt settings. It allows you to slow cook if that's what you'd rather do. It has a rice cooker. It basically will do almost anything you need to do in the kitchen. So today I'm going to share a recipe with you from my friend's cookbook. So my friend Jill has a cookbook that came out a few years ago called The New Fast Food, and it's all about cooking wholesome vegan meals in the Instant Pot and pressure cookers. So it has directions for stovetop pressure cookers as well as ones that are easily adaptable for the Instant Pot. So I absolutely love Jill's cookbook. I've made almost all the recipes in it, and Jill and I correspond a lot, so we were talking about what we should do, and we were like, maybe I should make some videos for some of her recipes. So Jill's been incredibly gracious to allow me to share a few recipes for you. So over the next couple weeks you'll be seeing some videos on the Instant Pot and the recipes from Jill's cookbook. So I will link below a blog post that has all the details about this recipe, as well as a link where you can buy Jill's ebook. So Jill's book comes in an ebook as well as a paper format. I personally love the ebook format, that's what I have. Mainly because as soon as I saw her cookbook, I wanted it automatically, so I bought the ebook so I could download it right away. But I also love it because it allows me to have a PDF copy on my work computer and my home computer. So if I'm at work and I'm like, I want to make that recipe of Jill's, but I can't remember what I need from the store, I can pull up the recipe, jot down my grocery list, and then when I come home, I have the copy here at home, and then I also have printed a copy for myself as well. Sometimes I have the whole printed copy, and then occasionally I'll just print off a single recipe as well. It's a really simple format. I love the search feature in the PDF document. It just makes it really easy to find exactly what I want. So I highly recommend Jill's cookbook. Today we're going to cook a recipe from it, and like I said, all the details will be down in the description box. So the recipe we're going to make today is Jill's coconut almond risotto. So if you've been around my blog or vlogs for any amount of time, or even just peeked in my recipe index, you know that I absolutely love risotto. Now risotto is not a whole grain, the rice that you use to make risotto, so it's not something that I try and eat every single meal, although I could eat it for every single meal. But it is definitely something that I really enjoy, and it's something that I have found, even when I make vegan versions, a lot of people who are omnivores really still like the dish. So the type of rice that you use for risotto is a special kind of rice. It's actually a short grain rice, and this is what it's called. I can find this at some of the grocery stores in town. The main store that I shop at doesn't sell it, but a few of the other larger stores do. It's important to get this kind of rice when you're making risotto because it's a special kind that actually absorbs up liquid to make a really creamy texture. So we're going to get started and cook the recipe. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do for this recipe is we're going to bring the milk to boil to prep it for the rice. So I have my Instant Pot set up over here, and let me show it to you. So this is my Instant Pot. It's plugged in, which is why it says the word off. And we're going to open up the lid here. It's going to play us a little tune. And I have nothing in it at the time, but I do have my milk measured out. So this right here is what the recipe calls for. The 2 cups of vanilla milk and the 1 cup of coconut milk. And we actually didn't have any vanilla almond milk, so we had just some plain. So I added a little bit of vanilla to it to give it the vanilla flavor. And then I also have my 1 cup of rice here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my Instant Pot on to the saute feature, which is going to heat up the inside of the pot because the recipe calls for bringing the milk to boil. So I'm now going to pour the milk in. And don't worry about the fact that my milk looked chunky. It was just the coconut milk and it's a little bit cold. So I'm going to put the milk there in the Instant Pot, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it to a boil. It says stirring constantly. So I'm going to grab a spoon, I'm going to stir it, and I'll come back when it's brought up to a boil. Alright, so my milk is coming to a nice boil here. So now that it's boiling, I'm going to click the cancel keep warm button, and that's going to turn off my saute feature. So now my Instant Pot says off. And you can see that that milk has a nice boil going to it now. So I'm going to add my rice. This is my my 1 cup of rice. And remember, this is the special rice that we use when we're making risotto. I'm going to stir that into my milk. Stir it up nice and well. And now this recipe calls to bring the Instant Pot to pressure for 5 minutes. So to do that, I'm going to put the lid on. And it's going to give me the music because it locked. I'm going to turn my my valve to sealed, and that's going to allow my Instant Pot to seal and come to pressure. And then I'm going to put it on for 5 minutes. So I'm going to click the manual button, and I'm going to reduce it down to 5 minutes. And Jill just recently taught me that you can actually hold the button and it will change time for you instead of click, 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 click. And I need to remember to do that. So I've got it set to come to pressure for 5 minutes. What it's going to do is it's going to seal up, it's going to come to pressure. It's going to stay on until it gets to pressure, then it's going to count down from 5 minutes. You'll notice that since that milk was boiling and there was so much steam, it actually did go ahead and close my steam vent here. This is what closes up to bring it to pressure. That might not happen right away. If so, it will come up as the Instant Pot comes to pressure. It's going to count down from the 5 minutes, and then this recipe calls to, after it finishes the 5 minutes, to allow it to naturally release for 10 minutes before you finish the release for it. So I'll show you all that in just a second. But right now, we're just going to leave it as it is and let it do its thing. So the Instant Pot just came to pressure, so it switched from on to its countdown. So now it's going to count down from 5 minutes down to when it's finished cooking. While that's been getting ready, I have been getting the rest of my ingredients prepared. So I've got my 1/3 a cup of sugar and my 1½ teaspoons of vanilla. I use coconut sugar as my main sugar, so this is the kind that I use. I actually get that on Amazon. The other thing I am doing is I am toasting up some coconut flakes, and I'm going to chop up some almonds so they're all ready when my risotto is done. So I'll show you in just a second what we do next. So as you can hear, the Instant Pot just finished its 5-minute cycle, so it's beeping to tell me that it finished. It's also going into the keep warm mode, and this is going to be the timer for how long it's been in keep warm. So we don't really need it to be in keep warm. We want the pressure to start coming down, so I'm going to click my cancel button. The pressure will still come down if you're on keep warm, but it just takes a lot longer. Most recipes, especially if it says take the pressure cooker off of the heat, it means to stop the keep warm cycle. So what I'm going to do is, this recipe says to let the pressure come down naturally for the first 10 minutes. So that means I'm not going to touch my pressure valve up here. You can see I've got pressure on my valve and it's very hot, so you wouldn't want to touch it because the valve is up. I'm not going to move this or touch it for the first 10 minutes. So I'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay, so the 10 minutes has just finished, which means it's time to manually release the rest of the pressure on my Instant Pot. So you'll notice that it still says off because I haven't changed anything on there, and you'll notice that my pressure valve is still up because the pressure hasn't finished releasing yet, but I am going to go ahead and release the rest of that pressure. So when I do that, it's going to be a little bit loud, but all I'm going to do is move this valve down to venting here, and the steam is going to release. You want to never have your hand or face or anything over this when it releases because it's very hot. So I'm going to release it. And you'll notice there's not a ton of pressure left in there, but a little bit is going to come out. And you want to let that steam come out until this valve drops down, like that. So yours might take a little more, a little less, and if it has more steam, then you might actually visibly see steam coming out here. That's fine. Just wait until that valve goes down, and at that point, the Instant Pot is actually unlocked. When that valve is up, the Instant Pot is locked, and it cannot be opened, and that's actually a great safety feature that the Instant Pot has. So now we're going to open it up and finish up this recipe. Alright, so like I said, the lid is unlocked, and we're ready to open it up. So we're going to open it up. It's going to play us our little tune. And you'll see all of our risotto down in there. So now what we need to do is we need to stir in our sugar and our vanilla. So you saw that I had that measured out over here. When I'm cooking with the Instant Pot, one thing that I have found is really important is to measure out all your ingredients before or while you have a little break in the cooking, because it cooks, everything cooks really fast, which is awesome. But I remember the first time I cooked with my Instant Pot, I was not prepared for that, and I had to kind of scramble. So I always try and get all my ingredients ready in the beginning. So I've got all my sugar scraped down in there and my vanilla, and I'm going to stir it around. This looks delicious. So you'll notice that our rice has soaked up a lot of our milk there, and it's made a very creamy dish. One thing I have found when I make risotto in the Instant Pot is that it actually gets a little bit creamier as it sits for a few seconds. So even after it's finished, if you just give it a few seconds, it gets really creamy. So I'm just going to stir this all up. And the next thing the directions say to do is to actually put this in a serving dish and to top it with your toppings. So I'll get it all plated up for us. But doesn't that look delicious? It's a nice, creamy, sweet dish. Alright, so I have the risotto all dished up, and I wanted to show you how amazing it looks. So if you can see, I have topped it with a little bit of chopped almonds and some toasted coconut. I also took a little bit of creative liberty and sprinkled some cinnamon on top because I absolutely love cinnamon. So this dish smells delicious, and I'm sure it tastes delicious as well. It's actually morning time here, and Jill suggests that you eat this as a dessert, but I think it might be a little bit of my breakfast this morning. So I'm going to go ahead and eat some of this. And like I said, there'll be links below for my blog post that has the recipe in it, as well as a link to Jill's ebook if you'd like to purchase it. I highly recommend it. It's a great resource for the Instant Pot, especially if you're new to the Instant Pot. It has great cooking charts. It has great directions on just how to use a pressure cooker in general. And it's a wonderful book, so I highly recommend it. And Jill also recommends for this recipe, if you'd like to top it with some fruit to make it a little more nutritious, that's a great idea. There's not much fruit in season right now. I don't have any in the freezer, so I'm going to just eat it like this, and I'm really excited. So if you liked this video, or if you liked this type of thing that we're doing, please let us know. We love to give you videos that you enjoy, so let us know what you think. If you have any questions about the recipe, feel free to leave them here or on my blog, and head on over to my blog to check out all of the information about this recipe. I hope you have a great day. Thanks!